Just letting you know, this is only my spoiler first impressions of the episode. Check my pinned comment for a free gift related to this video. And to watch my unfiltered reactions with exclusive bonuses, join my Asha Media TV Club. The link is in the description box below. Now, here's my afterthoughts of this episode of Supernatural.
Is this like the official Sam versus Dean season? Oh my god. It's like, I love the idea of it, but I'm also quite frightened. Oh my gosh. All I know is the thought of that is exciting. And it's not like it hasn't crossed my mind before. It's not like it hasn't crossed my mind before. Especially, when Sam was soulless, I think there was a point where I even thought, okay, could it be where it might be a Sam versus Dean period, and then that didn't really pan out the way I thought it was going to go by halfway through the season. So this could be it. This could be it. All right. So, gosh. Now that there's two very, very distinct stories, Castiel, like, it's official. I think, you correct me, but it's officially two shows in one. And that's just the way it is. The angel stuff is so much a separate show with Castiel and Metatron. And we've got Sam and Dean. And I'm not going to complain about it. I think what it is for me, it's that I have to kind of view the episode in two ways, right? I gotta somehow give you a perspective from the angel story narrative and then the Winchester story narrative. All right, so angel wise, as much as I kind of don't want to get my hopes up about the possible Hannah situation with Castiel. I do like the possibility of it. So I'm going to just try to stay in the moment and enjoy whatever little teases they show. I think that would be very interesting in terms of story, considering that they're both angels. He has a more human perspective, and through his experience and his wisdom that the stuff he's learned, it seems to have a very interesting effect on Hannah. So on that front, it would be just new for me to see that kind of relationship between two angels. I haven't seen that in TV fiction. Right? It's usually an angel and a human. Or an angel and some other type of supernatural creature. I think that's from a book. But anyway, yeah, I'll cross my fingers and see if something comes out of that. So for you Dean Stale fans, I'm sure that's probably annoying for you to watch. Alright, so now Crowley and Dean. Wow, this episode has a lot of, that's credit to Jensen's performance. Really delivering his lines with enough nuance for me to see some layers of Dean's own mindset. But then at first I was like, okay, it's a lot of self-loathing. Maybe he feels he deserves this fate and that's why he's not fighting it anymore. But if I'm right, that he actually doesn't have a soul to even contend with that, right? With this whole quasi-demon status that I think I'm understanding so far, then how much of what I'm watching is actually Dean. Like, I feel like I'm back with season 6 where soulless Sam, still Sam, but without the barrier of a soul. I'm just watching it from the way Dean does it, with extra layers of the power of the Mark of Cain. Which makes it even more, which brings up the tension a lot more. That's really cool. Jensen's doing a great job. And evil Dean, in a sense, is pretty terrifying. It's kind of sad, though, in a way, though, that even as somewhat of a demon, one of the foot soldiers of Crowley, even that he's not even good at doing. Because he excelled at being a hunter. And maybe that's the message. Maybe at the end of the day, Dean is a hunter of the supernatural, and that's his calling. That's what God made him there for. So anything outside of that wouldn't be natural, or perhaps he would fail at. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but it's like he's going against the grain. And so because of that, it's not going to work out one way or the other. If you understand the context I'm trying to add to this commentary here. So yeah, super excited. And I think it's a really good idea that they did take out the blade as somewhat the, ex machina, really. Because it would put him in too much of an overpowered status that as long as he has the blade, he'll just be like, kill, kill, kill. Now that he doesn't, now that he's under the custody of his brother, even though he's, threatening life, it makes the drama, the tension, and the thrill all the more heightened because he doesn't have his go-to tool. Well, I hope so. I hope they don't just bring it back in the next episode out of nowhere for no reason. But I'm trusting that this season's going to be good anyway. So I'm, suppressing any of my habit of being sometimes a little too pessimistic and a little bit too, cynical, Okay. So, yeah. Scene-wise. There's a lot of scenes that lends to a possible bigger picture. I'm gonna pick the scene with the fight, though. Not because it was a really cool fight to watch, but because of what it signified. And it kind of ties in with the last scene in the car with Sam and what Dean was telling Sam about why he let the guy live. And then we see him at the library researching demons. Let's see, it was funny. But what I liked about that scene is a David and Goliath situation. And I felt so bad for him. Obviously, that's the point, for us to feel really bad for him. He has no idea what he's up against. But then if they're going to now get him to be informed what he's up against, and then he levels up, and we have another rematch, and he actually kicks Dean's ass, that's pretty good. That's pretty good narrative. So if that's where they're going, that's why I chose that scene, because I'm like, oh, okay. Possible bigger picture there of what lesson can be learned from Dean's end, and perhaps the journey of this new character who they've now introduced, Cole. Yeah. Although, let me know if you agree, it is a little interesting that the guy was so obsessive about Dean that just the common sense of thinking Dean would just remember his father. Considering the fact that this is a guy who's been trained in the military, to the umpteenth level, God knows, I just thought that was a little dumb that he would even assume Dean is like, oh, yes, your dad. He was victim number, 1054. I remember him, I guess they're trying to show he was so blinded by his need for revenge that common sense wasn't so common for him for that. I'm just being nitpicky there, but I think most of you would agree, right? Okay. Ashamoji-wise, it's a 4. It's a 4. This was very good because it had a lot of developments. And I even was wondering, this could possibly be a reset of his personality. And what I mean by that is, if I am right and he is soulless, and this is now somewhat of a carte blanche. So what I mean is, I'm sure they'll find some way to save Dean, right? I mean, supernatural, for goodness sakes. And I'm only at season 10 out of 15. So I'm sure there's going to be some arc, but is it going to be where, I know you can't answer, but me and my rhetorical questions. It's rhetorical question moment. Is it going to be where Dean is going to be somewhat saved in some crazy way that will lead to a consequence for Sam this time around? So we lead into season 11 and it's going to be a Sam issue, right? Because I'm thinking they're probably going to take turns. That makes sense for 2 co-leads. But, yeah, so there's going to be something dramatic towards maybe halfway through the season, at the end of the season, and then they'll save Dean, but then will Dean just kind of go back to where he left off before he died? And then they can somewhat branch off a new character journey for him from that perspective. Okay, I'm overthinking things. I'm going to stop. Yeah, because I'm already going on a tangent with questions in my mind, so it's unnecessary. Bad habit, slowing it down. Great episode. That's my reaction to episode 2. I look very much forward to your answers to my questions about the status of Dean. Is he a demon or is he not? Is he in between? Like, what can you, break that down for me, okay? Second thing I want broken down as well now is, okay, so he doesn't have access to the blade. He may not be able to kill to fulfill the need within him. So is he gonna die as a result? Not die, but will that have a physical fatal consequence that they're gonna have to deal with? Maybe that could be a spoiler, so maybe you can't answer that. I can understand. And that's it for now. It's really just understanding the first 2 episodes with Dean specifically and what really was the status there in terms of powers and his level with Crowley. Because at first I was just like, couldn't he not overpower Crowley? And it shows he could, but with the blade. Now without the blade, he can't. Because the blade can kill demons, right? Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos.